when you're raised as a journalist professionally, you don't want enemies, but you ain't paid to make friends. You got to call it like you see it.
Okay, this is the problem. This right here is the problem. Stephen A. Smith falling back on, I was a journalist. This is what I do. You're not a journalist anymore. You're not. You're a pundit.
Good point.
You give your opinion, and you know what? He does a great job at it. But for Stephen A. Smith to fall back on, well, I'm a journalist, I just have to call it like I see it. No, that's not what your job is. Your job is to say stuff that it will get people to react.
Trevor Lane of Lakers Nation goes off on Stephen A. Smith. Check out what he had to say, and then I'll come back with my comments.
I was raised as a journalist. Let's be very, very clear about what that means. I'm not one of those that get into people's private affairs.
Here we go.
But what you do on a public platform for public.
You're not a person to get into somebody's private affairs. You criticize the man as a father. The hell are you talking about?
Yeah, he has his moments where he'll criticize. He tries his best not to go in between the lines, but you know, if it's out there and if it's public, he's going to comment on it. So I know with Stephen A, he's trying his best to deflect, but with this whole LeBron James situation, it's not the best of look. Even though he didn't say nothing crazy about Bronny, just the whole confrontation, it puts Stephen A in a bad light.
That's what I cover. That's what I do for a living. And if you're in the NBA, that applies to you. I don't want enemies. I live a very good life. I like to make people laugh and smile and have a good time and all of that other stuff.
And it's all
but I also get paid to call it like I see it. And what I said at the time, I stand by what I said. It wasn't even any reporting. The facts were out there. And what I was saying about LeBron is fact-based because of what he said and the things that he said leading up to his son getting drafted and ultimately being in the NBA on the same team as him, as opposed to being a Boston Celtic or a Golden State Warrior. There is no way around that.
Yeah, Stephen A, he's on point with that. There was manipulation in the draft, in my opinion. Bronny wasn't even supposed to be drafted. And then if he was, there was other teams that may have taken him, like the Mavs, I heard, may have drafted him 54th. Then you had Rich Paul talking about LeBron will go overseas if the Lakers don't draft him. So there was some stuff in play to make sure Bronny was a part of the Lakers.
He's not wrong. There's a reason Bronny is a Laker, and it's not that the Lakers had to get him because he's so talented. I think he's a legitimate G League talent. I think he has a legitimate NBA prospect. Would he be a specifically Los Angeles Laker if it wasn't for LeBron? No. And Stephen A is not wrong about that.
I think the jury's still out on Bronny if he's going to be an NBA player. He looks great in the G League, but as soon as he get in these NBA games, even in garbage minutes, he's not really looking good out there. I know he's a rookie. I know he still has to earn his stripes, but it's night and day when it comes to Bronny in the G League and being on that NBA floor.
Born and raised as a journalist, not born and raised, but when you're raised as a journalist professionally, you don't want enemies, but you ain't paid to make friends. You got to call it like you see it.
Okay, this is the problem. This right here is the problem. He's falling back on, but I'm a journalist and I have to be unbiased. I'm a journalist. This is what I do. There's a reason why I don't call myself a teacher anymore. I used to be a teacher. There's a reason why I don't call myself a teacher anymore. Because I'm not. Stephen A. Smith falling back on, I was a journalist. This is what I do. You're not a journalist anymore. You're not. You're a pundit.
Good point.
You give your opinion, and you know what? He does a great job at it. He's made himself a lot of money doing it. There's nothing wrong with that.
100 M's.
He's made himself a lot of money. Just agreed to a $100 million contract. That news just came out the other day.
I agree with what Trevor's saying as far as actively. Stephen A is not a journalist. He's a pundit. He's someone that's trying to get views, get ratings, continue to boost the ESPN First Take and that platform up. So the whole journalism thing, he may have done that in the 90s and early 2000s, but right now he's just trying to get clicks for ESPN, and he did a great job at it. 100 plus M's on his way to the bank account, 20 plus a year. So he did his thing. And again, the whole journalism thing is cool in retrospect, but in current reality, he's just here for entertainment.
Just agreed to a $100 million contract. Stephen A. Smith has made way more money doing what he's doing right now than he ever would as a journalist.
Of
but
course.
to fall back on this whole, oh, I come from a journalism background. I'm a journalist. It's going to be unbiased. I just have to call it like I see it. That's just how I am. No. What Stephen A. Smith is he is a part of hot take culture. And that's okay. He's made a lot of money at it. He's created a lot of engagement with it. A lot of people enjoy that stuff. Obviously, the numbers speak for themselves. But this has always been my issue with hot takes. And this is what bothers me. Maybe it doesn't bother you, but this is what bothers me about hot takes is I don't know what the truth is and what's not. I want to know what a person actually thinks.
Yeah, that's the thing with the hot takes, even clickbait. It happens. This is where we're adding content, media. Everybody does it, from small creators to huge platforms like ESPN and Fox. That's just where we're at with it. They don't really have the full truth every time. So let's debate. Let's put out these hot takes. And the hot takes, they're going to make more moves than the truth.
I want to know what they really think. I don't want to watch something and feel like a faux argument is being created. Opposite sides of an argument are being created just for engagement. That people are going to shout at each other and yell at each other just to get a response from the audience. That's what hot takes are all about. You say something that is inflammatory. You say something that's going to get a reaction. Positive or negative does not matter. You're going to get a reaction.
And not just hot take culture, just the whole debate thing with sports. Start off with Skip. Stephen A. Smith carried the torch, and now everybody's doing it. Everybody has a debate panel, and then you include the hot takes as well. Entertainment and sports, it just kind of messed things up. That's why you got Charles Barkley going off on everybody. Perkins throwing shots at Stephen A. Smith, even though he didn't directly put his name, on the TNT telecast. He was pretty much talking about ESPN as a whole. So ESPN, great platform, historical platform, but they're catching a lot of flack on social media.
And what I want to know personally is, what does that individual actually think? And I always find myself, when I watch the hot take shows, the screaming, the shouting, and all of that, I don't know what that person actually thinks. Now, that's not true of everyone. Yeah. But in general, a lot of these shows, they're built around debate. And there is real value in debate if it's being done properly. But when it turns into these shouting matches, who can say the craziest thing? Who can get something clipped that's going to be aggregated, that's going to go viral? All that sort of stuff, I feel like you lose the truth in all of it. And that is, again, that's my personal issue with the hot take shows.
Yeah, good point again by Trevor. That's where we're at. You got to debate. We got to be able to clip these things up. Got a clip farm. That's the whole new term going on. Can we take out of this 10-minute conversation, can we get a 1 or 2 minute clip to go viral and to get people back on board with the show the next day? So yeah, you add all that up, the debating, the trolling, the clickbaiting, the clip farming. This is what you got at First Take. Even Kai Cenat, let's get him on there. We can go viral with him. Not really taking him serious as far as being a sports pundit, but still, he got billions of views online. Let's get about 5% of that if you're ESPN. So they're great when it comes to entertainment, but people are starting to call them out on it.
And that's very much what Stephen A. Smith is and what he does. He's going to take a strong stance on a topic, and he's going to present an argument that is going to get people to talk. That's his job. Not to be a journalist. A journalist is going to give you a well-rounded picture. Now, are there opinions added into journalism? Sometimes, but those are also very clearly explained that they are opinionated comments. Journalism is supposed to be unbiased. You're supposed to be trying to present a well-rounded view of the situation, of whatever it is you're reporting on. Now, obviously, in this day and age, that's not the case. We know it. Even we're looking at politics. There's lots of different companies that clearly take different slants on things, right? We want to talk about Fox News going right. We want to talk about NBC going left, and everything in between. That's the way the media environment is now today. But for Stephen A. Smith to fall back on, well, I'm a journalist, I just have to call it like I see it. No, that's not what your job is. And you do a great job of what your job is, but just be honest about what it is. Your job is to say stuff that it will get people to react.
Yeah, again, great points by Trevor. I know he's a Lakers fan, LeBron fan, so there's some bias there, but everything he said in this clip is 100% correct. Stephen A. Smith is not a journalist. He's an entertainer. He's trying to make these clips go viral, trying to bring more viewership to ESPN and First Take. He's doing a great job so far over the last 10 plus years, and you've seen the money that he's got. A couple million his first contract, 100+ million this contract. So he's going to continue to do this, but again, he's going to try to, fight his way back within the media, try to go off on people from time to time, and then when people keep that same energy with him, you start to see a different side of Stephen A, a somber, monotone, just not feeling it. LeBron definitely shook him. I don't think he really went off on him crazy, but just by confronting Stephen A like that in public and then all the hits on social media, that took a hit to Stephen A. Smith's ego. So shout out to Trevor, man. Keep putting out that dope content. Stephen A. Smith is officially exposed.